Good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you're watching. Welcome on in. We're glad to have you on board as we get started here. It's our Saturday show, guys, and we're going to have a ton of fun. I am T Shroom. Tim is taking a break. He is taking the Saturday off. He's got some stuff he needs to take care of. He's also got a little baby, so that may be playing into the cards there, trying to take care of the little one. But we're going to be looking at the charts. And we're going to be looking at an overflow of news that came in late last night. We're going to be taking a look at some of that stuff and how it might be affecting your portfolio. Some things going down with MetaMask. Some new laws getting signed in California. We're going to take a look at some of those details. And, of course, we will be hearing a little bit about the new speakership as that develops, the new speakership for the House of the United States Congress. We're going to be taking a look at the charts as well. But before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and take a look at the price movement here of crypto. And then we will get to our quote of the day. It's a little bit of a T-Shroom takeover today, so who knows what the flow of the show is going to be exactly like, but we're going to have a lot of fun. Let me just check in with the comments here really quickly. I'm seeing Nancy Croy was first. I don't think I've ever seen Nancy Croy be first, so that's pretty awesome. And then Mr. J coming in saying morning, and then also we got Servando Estrada. That's awesome. Haven't got to say that name in a while. Bedridden saying yo, and then Alt3R3 Go said good morning. So we've got all of the classics here, and definitely a lot more people more than likely to join. Look at that good-looking guy right there, man. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at CoinMarketCap here and see what were some of the moves from yesterday. Let's see. So yesterday, Trust Wallet token took off up 18%, and then Loom Network still pumping to the upside in the last 24 hours, up 10.8 XDC. And Internet Computer kind of, I would say, leading the pack from a normal standpoint. That's more of a normal day. These guys, Loom and Trust Wallet, man, something must be going on there. Let me know in the comments if you guys know, because I'm usually the one who does the research last minute to find out why these tokens might be popping. I won't be able to do that. So let's see who are our losers. It's going to be Rocket Pool, Thorchain, and BitGet token. But I got to say, guys, these are not down by very much here in the last 24 hours. Not down by much at all. So that's good to see. ApeCoin coming in top 4 down, even though it's only down 0.2. So got to give it to ApeCoin, man. They are holding on by their bootstraps there. We'll see what ends up happening with ApeCoin. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and get into the quote of the day here. This is from Plato. We're going back to the philosophers. He said, "For a man to conquer himself is the first and noblest of all victories." And I think that that's very true. I think it's extremely true. You got to conquer yourself, guys. You can't let your ego overcome and steer your life. Sometimes it's good to have a little bit of ego, right? A little bit of ego to help you kind of sort out what exactly you're striving for, what you could be, right? You need that ego, but for the most part, right, we cannot let our ego get the best of us. So some good words there from Plato, and that's how I'm interpreting it. I'm sure you could interpret it many different ways. But yeah, so that's going to be that. Let's take a look at the charts here, guys. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and see. I've got it real zoomed out here on the monthly, guys, because that's where I want to start. I want to camp out. You know how much I love monthly candlestick charts. Even though we are smack dab in the middle of October, right in the middle of the month, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and take a look at the monthly charts. So let's do it. Taking a look here at the MACD, man, it is just flat as can be on Bitcoin. The MACD is just so flat, but it is barely green, printing barely green histograms each time. As you can see, there was this huge movement of green histograms during the 2021 bull run, okay? And then conversely, in 2022, you had a huge amount of red histograms here, kind of billowing out and then receding back in. Well, now it's neither, right? It's undecided. It's just sideways crab market, right? Slightly green, which is nice. It's nice. It's better. I'll take green. Hey, I will take green. And then again, we're on the monthly charts here, guys, but on the Prime Oscillators Pro, it's showing that it is just going ahead and trending with that zero line as well. So giving us nothing to conclude pretty much here from the oscillators on the monthly. Nothing to conclude but stability, and really liking this price range here between roughly 30,000 and call it 24.5, something around there. But let's take this analysis and then let's also take a look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, its proximity is just under the monthly Bollinger Band here, right, midline of the Bollinger Band. So you can say, that Ethereum on the monthly, according to its wider kind of range here of indicators, is underperforming Bitcoin. So Bitcoin being able to trade above that Bollinger Band here is something that I can consider pretty bullish. It's able to get up above that average, that moving average, and print. Now, can it finish October green? Can it finish it green? And more importantly, can it finish it above that Bollinger Band? That's yet to be seen. We don't know what's going to happen. The last candlestick in September was green, and we did get an entire candlestick print above that Bollinger Band back here in July. So it can be done. We will see what ends up happening, but that can be very indicative of institutional investment coming in and taking another look if they see that some big bullish trends are starting to develop on the monthly charts. All right. So we will also be taking a look at some equities today, but let's not leave crypto too quickly. Let's look at Bitcoin on a more relevant time scale, maybe to your trading. Let's take a look at it on the old daily. Why don't we? And of course, it's kind of coming in here below the midline of the Bollinger Band, but it's kind of staying in this range pretty nicely here, right? So this range being down here at 25.9, just below 26. And 28.5. That's what I've got these T boxes drawn. Perhaps they stand for Tim. Perhaps they stand for T-Shroom. I'm not sure exactly, but they are T boxes there, and they're put in there from. I've had these for a little bit. Actually, the one on the bottom I drew somewhat more recently here, but those are some levels that I've been watching. Definitely, obviously, buying kind of south of here. Not really buying too much here, just kind of DCAing, just kind of a weekly amount that I put in, that I buy Bitcoin. And then up here, maybe starting to trim a little bit if I'm in profit, especially if I have any leveraged ETFs or any ETFs like GBTC or anything like that, take a little profit, funnel it back into Bitcoin spot. So at a lower price is kind of the key there. So that's how you get the real gains there. Awesome guys. So let's see. Taking a look at a lot of different indicators here, you can see that it's just kind of going with the flow here. Bitcoin, it's in a general uptrend here, which is nice to see, but generally it's just kind of going sideways, not really making too much of a move one way or the other. It's a good bit off this downtrending line of support, which is nice. It doesn't look like it's even interested in testing that, but if it did test it, and if I pulled this out. I can't actually because it's a chart prime line, but if you kind of extrapolate it out, put it down here to 23. And guys, that's where I think kind of the level for Bitcoin is the bottom limit personally, but there's a lot of really smart guys out there, Tim included, who think that we could go south of 23. I just think that even with the news that we're going to get into today, I mean, look, it barely has moved the price today, and we've got some pretty big news. For crypto in general, not just Bitcoin. But the price is not really moving. I think there's just too many buyers in the market right now. And that's with retail being asleep, right? So I just think there's too many folks and too many dollars in that are wanting to come into Bitcoin. And as you can see, it's consistently putting in a higher low, right? But that doesn't mean that it can't go lower, right? There's definitely a lot of events that could push Bitcoin to the downside. And breaking through some of the support that I have drawn out, and then breaking through the discount zone here of chart primes daily. And it's possible. It's in the cards, guys, especially if we continue to get negative news like today. But I will say that regardless of the news we have in the last 24 hours, Bitcoin's price not really budged too badly by it. So it's unfortunately, it's just kind of resorting back to that age-old solution to what this is, which is DCA and pray. Eric Wallen saying, wait, Saturday show, ? Yeah, Saturday show. Am I missing something? 11 a.m. Here we are. Snake Nasty said, nasty, nasty time. A mellow fellow said, yo, I thought no show today. Yeah, no show yesterday. So, yeah, maybe Tim said no show today somehow. DLK said, if Bitcoin gets to 20K, Michael Saylor will buy another 10K Bitcoin. Yeah, probably. Philly Skills said he just woke up, and the classic IT guy said, hey, y'all. So, a lot of fun going on. Servando Estrada said, happy Saturday, bros. So we're killing it. Thanks, guys. Make sure that you are smashing the like button. If you're just tuning in or you are just finding the Investing Bros for the first time, go ahead and consider subscribing to the channel. We go live usually 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we do intense, in-depth analysis of the charts. And then in the morning at 9 a.m., we also drop a video that does something similar, but it's obviously just not live. We don't engage with the chat in that video because it's not live. And then on Saturdays, we go live here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have a ton of fun, guys. Looking here at Ethereum, you can see that it's been treating this discount zone with a lot of obedience, a lot of respect. This discount zone from Chart Prime, which really, if you kind of look at the top line of that price, it's 1,530, right? It's 1,530. So that is a price that's been pretty well respected. You had a wick right to it back here in mid-September. We had a wick that penetrated through it down to 1,521. But for the most part, this is a pretty good line of support. We'll see. This is definitely going to be one to watch. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and put an alert on there. And it's one to watch because if it breaks down through that, we're going to have some more downside, which isn't good. But we'll probably have a downside move down to this uptrending line of support. Let's see if we were to break through that in the next 3 or 4 days, we would see probably a 1,481 Ethereum. So that's something to consider. The downside for Ethereum. But am I going to sell now and try to buy back lower? No, that's not the move, guys. I've got my Ethereum staked. So I'm earning on my Ethereum, and I do not plan on doing anything with it except buying more. So a mellow fellow said, yeah, he said no show yesterday or today. I'm happy he was wrong, LOL. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tim, I think what Tim did is he probably said no show for both days, and then forgot to revise the tweet. That's okay. We're all here. We're all having fun. All right, gold. So let's switch a little bit and go check out the precious metals because they've been making a bit of a comeback. If you take a look at these percentage gains to the upside, you can see silver is up 4.2, gold up 3.4. And in the broader context of kind of how the bond market has been moving as its yields skyrocket, it's interesting to watch how the metal markets respond because the metal markets are traditionally, right, kind of the rush into safety. Maybe when there's a recession kind of looming or, when there's too much volatility in the equities market, investors will flock into the precious metals. They'll flock into other things. But right now, it looks like precious metals are getting bought quite aggressively, especially right now with silver up 4% and gold up 3.4%. So things moving pretty well over there. Not so much in well, let's take a look at the gold charts really quick before I move. See this one, a very aggressive move in the span of only a handful of candlesticks here. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in 5 candlesticks, and this last one just absolutely parabolic here, up almost 3.5% just on its own. That's gold, guys. This isn't Solana or Pepe coin or something like that. This is gold, right? So things picking up pretty fast there in gold. You can see back here there was a similar move to the upside, almost 9.5% there in just the span of a couple days, just 6 days. So, it can be done. Also have a buy rating there from Chart Prime on gold back there on October 11th. So a lot of interesting movement there in the metal markets, kind of signaling to me that, investors may be getting a little bit skittish. And you can also see that gold got bought here earlier than it probably should have in this trend. Now, it got bought earlier back here too, but this downtrending line of support was ignored back here, and then it was ignored down here as well. So it just went ahead and popped up earlier than it probably needed to. What does that mean? That means that Folks are pretty bullish on gold, even though it's in a downtrend. You know, there's buyers here at these lower levels just waiting to gobble it up, and then it makes a move to the upside. Gobble it up, makes a move to the upside. Now, there's also a lot of macro events happening that may incentivize a shift, an allocation into gold from other assets at the time. So that's also important to remember as well. The fundamentals, you can't ignore them. Let's take a look at equities, though. Let's start off with Tesla. Let's go back out to the 1 month charts here. That is the 1 week charts. Let's look at the 1 months, and let's take a look specifically. I'm going to clean up this chart here a little bit. Let's take a look specifically at the Bollinger Bands. Yes, I know I'm notorious. T-Shroom is notorious for looking at the 1 month Bollinger Bands. It's good to zoom out, get an idea, get a context of where we are. First of all, since 2019, Tesla has had an absolute explosion to where we are now. That is 4 digits, okay? 1,532% move to the upside, and that's just where we are today. At the all-time highs there, it was up 2,636%. That is for Tesla, okay, since 2019. So are you bearish on Tesla? You may want to reconsider. It's printed 4 candlesticks above the Bollinger Bands, right? This is the same analysis we were just doing on Bitcoin and Ethereum just moments ago, okay? Tesla printing above those Bollinger Bands. Now, this is an important story because Tesla is undervalued according to this chart relative to Microsoft and Google. See, Microsoft overvalued, maybe not overvalued, maybe appropriately valued, right? But it's well above its midline of the Bollinger Band, and it's held there. Apple has also held, but it's come down quite a bit, right? So, and then the last one that I want to pull up here is going to be Amazon. Amazon, you can see, kind of more similar to Tesla, where it never really got up here and floated. In fact, it spent so much time kind of moving lower that it actually drug this top line of the Bollinger Band down, which kind of, to be honest with you, it kind of throws my analysis off a little bit because it kind of dilutes what the upside could be on Amazon purely based off of Bollinger Bands. But ultimately, you are seeing a broader confluence of bullish indication right here, guys, as the MACD has had this bullish cross, maintained it. It's not the best. You'd like to see a little more widening there on the MACD, those MACD lines, the blue kind of getting further away from the orange line. But hey, I'll take this. This is still up and to the right, in the right direction, both those MACD lines pointing. And then also down here on the Prime Oscillator Pro, you are seeing a move up on top of the 0 line and staying up above there. That is bullish, right? So after you got this oversold rating back here in July of 2022, it went ahead and made a pretty big move to the upside to try to test kind of where we were just a month ago, right? It went up here and tested $150 per share on Amazon, couldn't make it, didn't even get to go up there and test that midline of the Bollinger Band back there in 2022, dumped hard, pulling that top line of the Bollinger Band down with it, right? But now, since then, it has been able to recover and move to the upside. Guys, Amazon is not going away. Amazon is robust. Is it an AI name? A little bit. It's growing. It's developing. It's trying to get there. Kind of like AMD. AMD, another one. Let's pull up here. But before I leave Amazon, just note, it is printing above those Bollinger Bands now. When I started doing this monthly Bollinger Band analysis back in the summer, it had only just broken through. So now it's printed several times above that. And again, the bigger context here is that Bitcoin is only just now printing a green candlestick above that. And if it can make that green, that would be really, really great. Let's take a look at AMD here, and then let's go ahead and transition into some of the news. We may have a little bit of a shorter show here, but it just depends on how the news goes here. AMD, so looking a lot more bullish than maybe Tesla and Amazon here, as this pattern's a little bit more uniform. Had a test pretty darn high here, you know, and then it also has this narrative that I've been thinking about quite a bit, and I don't know how to approach the research. But why has its sister company, competitor, NVIDIA, just absolutely had it's been one of the most outperforming stocks, certainly of its market cap, in the last year, right? It's just been, but now it is oversold to the tune of 3 times in a row here. 3 monthly candlesticks oversold, according to the Chart Prime Oscillator Pro. So that's pretty bearish, right? And you are seeing a cooling of that AI narrative. So now the question is, where does that cooling leave a name like NVIDIA? Could it perhaps come back to the top of this candlestick here, or will it come all the way back down to this much more natural support here at this top back here at 330? I don't know. I think there's still enough money kind of going into AI on a monthly basis. By that, like meaning buying more shares monthly to keep this price higher for longer until we have a kind of a bigger bullish movement, right? With the Fed, which basically is the Fed going to cut rates. Well, that's a whole nother question that we're not going to talk about too much on the show. But the overall observation is, why can't AMD make this kind of a move, right? AMD is back here around right here right now. So it has potentially, and this is a very crude analysis here, but potentially a 97% potential move to the upside for AMD if it can kind of crack the code that NVIDIA cracked and lured tons and tons of investors into buying its shares. I don't know that that's going to happen. In fact, I don't think it will, because it hasn't happened yet. But if they can show investors, hey, look, we are pumping out even better AI chips than NVIDIA, then you will absolutely see a move to the upside that is strong. But guess who else is doing that? Amazon, trying to do the exact same thing, okay? Tesla, trying to do the exact same thing, making AI chips and looking to go ahead and turn around and sell those to the broader market like NVIDIA does. But NVIDIA and AMD are just so far ahead. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen. Well, I'm sure you didn't. I'm sure you may not have tuned in for such a deep dive on charts for the microchip producers, but Eric Wallen did comment. He said NVIDIA took a chance on AI capability and was rewarded. It's absolutely right. Another company that had taken a chance is Netflix. Meta took a chance and was rewarded, right? So you got to take risks. And we're going to be talking about the grandpappy of them all, in my opinion. Apple, technically by market cap, is the grandpappy of them all right now, but Microsoft, the grandpappy of them all, took a risk, and it paid off like yesterday. We're going to go over that here in just a second. Speaking of which, let's take a look at one more chart I had pulled up here to look at, and that is going to be Caspa. Caspa has been in this rising wedge here, and it has been doing pretty well, right? It's been making a move to the upside, constantly and steadily putting in higher lows, but a rising wedge is bearish. So I'll leave it to Tim to kind of cover that more in depth, but just keep in mind that this is a bearish formation overall, and that 7 times out of 10 that these will actually break bearish and make a move to the downside. But the reason that I think this is important is because I've DCA'd back here 2 days ago. DCA'd into Caspa, picked up a little more, not financial advice. But I like it. I like the coin, I like the project, I like the community, the momentum it's building, and the innovation that it's bringing to the market, as well as the leadership there. The leadership is one of the top cited individuals. I can't pronounce or remember his name, but it's some kind of Eastern European name. But he's extremely well cited. He was cited by Charles Hoskinson in a video and Vitalik in a video, and he's been cited also in many white papers. Dot, I'm pretty sure, is one of the ones he was cited in AVAX. Like if you scroll all the way down to their white papers, or you do Control F or Command F, you can just type in his name, and you'll see that he's been cited in all these papers. He's a bit of an OG in the space, and that is why I'm bullish on Caspa. It's a name that I think that continuing to buy is a good idea for me. You have to make your own decision. You have to do your own research in order to make that decision. Dustin Singer said, besides the AI coming in, NVIDIA was more established than AMD and much more desired. Yes. He also said, I've got 6 GPUs and all NVIDIA, not even considering AMD. Yeah. See, that's the thing is like, but you can make the argument. Nerds aren't going to make the argument. People who know a lot about GPUs and about especially AI, they're going to make the argument that NVIDIA is superior, right? But when the rubber hits the road, you just need a card and you need it to work, right? And I think that eventually at some point, AMD is going to have some kind of leadership that figures that out and starts to pump and starts to produce products that people actually want to buy and lure in investors, right? So we'll see. And then there's tons of people too who love AMD over NVIDIA too. So maybe not tons, but and then you also have Intel getting into that whole game more on the gaming side. GPUs. I don't think Intel's trying to make an AI play, but anyway, all right, guys, let's go ahead and move right on into the news. We looked at equities, we looked at Bitcoin and Ethereum. We even took a look at Caspa here, kind of my bullish altcoin that I've been watching and buying a little bit more of. Now, actually, we were supposed to look at my portfolio today, but I think with Tim taking a break today, we diverted from that. But Harry Pierce said, "Where are you buying Caspa? Where am I buying? Florida." Dustin Singer said, AMD has a car that works, but it's running on donut tires. Yes, I see what you're saying. That's an analogy. It's not a. I was like, do they make a car? But yeah, I agree with that. It's a good analogy. Henry Pierce said, where are you buying Caspa? So the lows, right? I mean, I think that there's a pretty good chance, like maybe a 30 to 40% chance that Caspa will break through this uptrending line of support and make a move lower. You know, probably as low as down here, maybe at 2 cents. So cut itself in half, right? Which wouldn't be great, or have a 34% move to the downside. I think that that's possible, given the broader context of crypto and how it's going to be affected by potentially higher federal funds rates for longer. So that's just something to consider. But according to this dynamic reactor, Caspa actually has some good support back here at 11% to the downside of where we are now at 0.037. So that am I buying it there? Yeah, I'm buying Caspa, guys. That's one that I'm definitely DCAing into quite a bit, especially as it stays on the green side, on the good side of this dynamic reactor, right? Good side, bullish side. I mean, you want to buy as low as you can, right? So maybe the good side is on the other side of it, but it's just a signaling so much strength, right? There's just so much strength here for a crypto. It's a good looking chart, right? It's a chart that I want to buy, and it's also a project that I just really like. The other thing too about Caspa is it's not yet on Binance. It's not on Coinbase. It's pretty difficult to acquire it on MetaMask. Like, it's not easy. So why does that get me excited? Well, because once it gets listed on those exchanges, it's gonna potentially have a move to the upside. I mean, listings are something that people trade completely 100% on, just listings. I don't. You could look into that. It's not a bad strategy. King D said, "What happened yesterday? No show." What did happen? Oh, yeah, I had to drive up to turn in all my military gear. Yeah, it's something I should talk about. Before we transition into stories, I'm going to answer a couple of questions here. Yesterday, I drove up to St. Augustine, Florida. I live in Gainesville, Florida, so it was a little bit of a drive, 2.5 hours, 1.5 hours. I was on the phone the whole time talking to people about the unrest in the Middle East, guys. So talking to some educated people about that, trying to get my head around it. But I exited the military yesterday. I signed my discharge papers. Did I get an honorable discharge? No. Did I get a dishonorable discharge? No. I got what's called an uncharacterized discharge, which is basically for people who don't complete their contract, but who didn't do anything to get discharged. They are volunteering to leave. Now, most people do not have that offered to them. Most people cannot just leave the military. They cannot exit their contract. But because of the specific program that I was in, I was able to. And I have a lot of thoughts on the military, and I'll more than likely talk about those more in bro time. But overall, I do still think that there is a demographic of people who the Army is great for. And so if you feel like you're one of them, or you have a young person in your life who's considering joining the Army, it might be for them. Henry Pierce said, I should have been more clear. I mean, what DEX? Oh, where? Uphold. I buy Caspa on Uphold. Yeah. It's, for an American who doesn't do a lot of leverage trading, so I don't have like a BitGet account or anything like that. I do have a BitGet account, but Uphold's just easy. It's also pretty good. Yeah. So I like it. There's like a dollar fee for most swapping, which isn't great, it seems, but it's the only place. It's not the only place I can buy Caspa, but it's a place. What exchange maybe is the question? Yeah, what exchange? So Uphold.com. You know, they were one of the only ones that you could buy XRP on for a long time. So, you know, they're good. I like them. You can buy Caspa on Uphold, but can't remove from exchange. You can only buy Caspa buy on MEXC, and you can remove it. Yeah, so MEXC seems to be the one that is probably the best for Caspa because you can like send it to yourself or send it to other people. You cannot send or receive it on Uphold. You can only buy it. So what I do is I go on my Robinhood account, which is an easy fiat on-ramp to crypto. I buy AVAX, and then I send that AVAX to Uphold, and then I swap there. And there's like, I'm basically paying $1 in fees for that whole transaction. Because the movement from my bank account to Robinhood's free, and then the purchase of AVAX is free on Robinhood. All right, moving along, other than the gas fee. Moving along here, you got Caspa on Uphold. Eric Wallen said, I don't think you can send Caspa off Uphold. Yeah, no, you cannot. You cannot, but you can sell it, and then you can swap it back into AVAX and then move it back into your wallet if you want. Or USDC, you know. There's a lot of things you can swap it in and out for. I don't know why I use AVAX now that I'm thinking about it instead of maybe there's a fee associated with USDC, which isn't why I use it for that. Anyway, King D said the SPY looks like it wants to go lower in my opinion. St. Augustine is great, said Ninja Glock. We'll take a look at the SPY here in just a second. Congratulations, I wanted to join Air Force, but I'm allergic to fish, so I can't. I don't get it. Do they eat a lot of fish? I'm sorry. I've not been in the military long enough to get that reference, but that is probably funny. Eric Wallen said T-Shroom was relentlessly talking about the factoid elf to his superiors in the army, and they kicked him out. Yes, exactly. A mellow fellow said if they didn't believe in the factoid elf, then he maybe they made the right call. It's true. They made the right call. Let's see. Let's take a look at the SPY here. Let's take a look at the indexes. This is actually a great way to round out. Oh my gosh. To round out our analysis here. Holy crap. I'm seeing something for the first time here. Oil is back up to 87. Goodness gracious. $87 per barrel. Glad I filled up yesterday. Oh man, that is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. It's penetrated back through this uptrending line of support that it had kind of looked like it was going to flip into resistance. Maybe it is. Still kind of has that chance of doing that. Not up above the Bollinger Band there on the daily, the midline of the Bollinger Band at least. Man, that is not good to see. You want oil to keep coming down. You want it to keep coming down. Henry Pierce said, thanks. Yeah, Uphold's going to be your exchange for Caspa, in my opinion. Let's take a look at the indexes, though. Let's take a look at SPY first. SPY, yeah, it's playing pretty hard with that midline of the Bollinger Band. Let's throw on the Dynamic Pro and see. Oh, I've already got the market order on. So it's got a buy rating here, but it's under a sell. It's under a red line here for the trend assistant. So what's the opposite of confluence? Disfluence. It's disfluent, and so I would not be buying the S&P here. Now, that doesn't mean if you have a DCA strategy in the S&P, which is a great strategy, that doesn't mean nothing for you, right? Maybe you want to wait and see if it does go ahead and put in a new low, maybe like down here, 4,120, something like that, 4,150 more like, something like that. But overall, if you zoom out on the indexes, you do get a very big cup and handle, which is kind of crazy. I've kind of gone on and said that this is too big to play out, in my opinion. But we'll see. It's going to coincide much more with Fed rates, guys. Just so you know, it's not going to be. I don't think that people are making technical trades off of these multi-months. This is a multi-year formation, right? I just don't think that that's the case. I don't think people are trading based off of that. I think that they're much more interested in what the Fed is going to do here, probably in the late summer, if they go ahead and cut rates back then. Or if there's some kind of labor shock to the labor market and they need to pivot, they may have a cut sooner. That could also be the case. The NASDAQ here, a more pronounced cup and handle potentially forming here. As you can see, so always something to watch. Dow Jones, much less pronounced. In fact, it kind of you'd be hard pressed to even maybe identify that if it wasn't so pronounced on the NASDAQ. But anyway. All right, guys, we're going to get into the news here. We've looked at almost everything. Let's go ahead and look at the S&P a little bit more drilled in. Let's look at it on the 4-hour here. Yeah, so basically what we're looking at here on the S&P, get it pulled up here, is, yeah, I mean, so Eric Wallen, I believe, was the one saying that you could see a move lower in the S&P. I think it was... No, it's King D. Said the SPY looks like it wants to go lower, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's put in a lower high. Put in a lower high here and a lower low, right? From back here in August of 2023 of this year. You know, it has. And but I will say, it is still above the zero line here on the prime oscillator on the 4-hour. Your green histograms are decelerating there on the MACD. And your lines are starting to bow kind of maybe for a bear cross, right? But I would say that overall the indexes are honestly, they look like they're in reload mode to me. That's kind of my take is they're in reload mode. And maybe they need to come back down here and test this uptrending line of support that I have drawn. Let's zoom out and look at that. That's a very long line, though. So maybe it will. Maybe it does need to do that and get back down to 4,000 even before it can make a move higher. I need to get off these 4-hour charts. Go back to the weekly, guys. I'm a zoom out guy. I'm a zoom out zoomer. I'm a millennial. But this uptrending line of support, yeah. I mean, there's definitely some potential for it to come back and test that. It tested it nicely here. This would be only a 5% move. So maybe some news from China, maybe some Jerome Powell coming out and doing some finger wagging. The dynamic reactor seems to think that there could be a move back down. So, I mean, King D, you might be onto something there. The S&P is going to go lower before it goes higher. All right, let's go ahead and get into the news, guys. Oh, man. I noticed C3.ai may be forming a major cup and handle. Oh, you gotta stop, because I'm going to go look at these guys. I'm so curious. I love it. Ticker AI. This is an equity, not a crypto. Cup and handle on what? On what time frame? Forming a major cup and handle. If you're talking about this, maybe. Let's zoom in. Maybe you're talking about something a lot more on the 4-hour or something. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. No, I don't know that I'm seeing a cup and handle. Yeah, I'd say no. No. If anything, maybe it'd be like a head and shoulders here, but you know, something like this. But no, I don't see a cup and handle. Does anybody else see a cup and handle? Maybe, and I'm missing it. Let's get into the news, guys, though. Going to start off with the bad news here. MetaMask removed from Apple App Store. It is a shocking development. You are right, Watch Your Dog Guru. The development is similar to a situation in September of last year with a different crypto wallet. Then Trust Wallet was inexplicably removed from the Apple App Store, only to be reinstated. The Trust Wallet team responded to the removal swiftly, telling its users that the problem was being remedied. Not so quickly here for MetaMask, not issued a statement. To be honest with you guys, this is not good news. This is not good news, but I never use the MetaMask app on my Apple phone. Maybe, but I'm sure that a ton of people do. Sure that. I mean, I use it on Chrome quite a bit, but I almost never use it in my... I never use it. I don't think I'm even logged in on my MetaMask app on my phone on iOS. MetaMask has been taken off the App Store, though, guys. That's the headline, and that's why the thumbnail is what it is, because Apple seems to be striking here against MetaMask. Now, maybe they have some kind of vendetta against MetaMask itself. Maybe that's justified. Maybe they don't feel like the security is good enough. I don't know how that could be the case. Good security on MetaMask. But maybe they have a vendetta against crypto. And, you know, it's kind of hard to disagree with that, because we see, it almost seems like we see a headline that Google and Google Cloud is coming out like almost every other week, saying that they're partnering with some new crypto to them, like Polygon or something like that. It was a recent headline for that. right? But Apple, you almost never see any collaboration with crypto, right? So it's not a good look. It's not a good look for Apple. But there's other news as well to check out. California Governor Gavin Newsom signs law to regulate crypto in the state. So law primarily requires crypto companies to obtain a license to operate in the state. That's the primary function of what the new law seems to do. Gavin Newsom is one of the Democratic Party's most prominent promoters and defenders of blockchain and crypto technologies. According to CoinGate.com, the earlier bill was voted by Governor Gavin Newsom, and it was similar to New York's BitLicense regulation, which was considered one of strict crypto regulation. So if you remember, man, seems like many moons ago now that was a headline that seems to be somewhat over. But I guess it's not that, even though the primary function of the law is a license. So I'm not really exactly sure. We'll have to learn more about this one, but this is just the news of today. The law is expected to go in effect January of 2025. So it's not going to be taking effect for a while, but it will at some point. Will that make... This could have two outcomes. The market could kind of interpret this as good. They could say, well, this is, California is the place now to go do it. There's regulatory clarity, right? Or it's going to scare off a bunch of crypto operators and services and say, we're not going to operate here. It's the laws are just too overbearing. If you want to use crypto, move out of California, move out of New York, move to Florida, move to Texas. I don't know. We'll see. That is not good news, though. Well, I don't know. I don't know that it's good or bad news. We'll have to see. I mean, regulation usually isn't good, but everything that Brian Armstrong has been saying, Brian Armstrong, of course, CEO of Coinbase, is that he craves regulatory clarity. So you're getting a little bit of regulatory clarity here. You're getting something passed, finally, right? But he is a Democrat, right? And who else is a Democrat? Elizabeth Warren. So has he kind of bitten that apple as well? The same apple that Elizabeth has bit, meaning is he taking maybe campaign contributions? Is he taking some kind of funding? Is he benefiting in some way from the interest that is behind Elizabeth Warren, right? In which case, this would be a bad headline. Or is he really, somewhat technologically knowledgeable? You would imagine that he is to some extent, because his state is one of the most technically advanced states in the world, right? With Silicon Valley. It's also interesting timing here. The same 24-hour period that Apple says, "Hey, we're kicking MetaMask off of our App Store." So I don't know. That's a coincidence. That's kind of more conspiracy there. But this is a little bit of an older headline, but maybe you missed it. Maybe you're just able to tune in on Saturdays. SEC will not appeal court decision on Grayscale spot ETF. So this is very, very good news. Very bullish, at least. So that's good. And you've probably seen pretty good coverage of that. So we'll keep moving along. But I just wanted to bring it to you in case you missed it. It's a big headline. Well, here's a site for sore eyes. Taylor Swift, who has the same initials as your boy, T. Shroom. You can now buy Taylor Swift movie tickets with Bitcoin, Doge, and Sheep. Taylor Swift movie tickets? What does that mean? She's got a movie now, I guess? That's kind of cool. I actually live like a minute away from a movie theater, and I've never been to it because we don't watch a ton of movies. We do other stuff. We're gamers and TV, like Netflix watchers. All right. Well, that's not all you can buy with crypto. You can also buy Bitcoin. Just kidding. You can also buy Ferraris now to accept crypto as payment for its cars in the United States, which is pretty cool. See, when I bought my Ferraris, I wasn't able to pay in crypto. I had to pay in euros. So, that was many moons ago when I was the exchequer for the German parliament. But, we'll see. We'll see how all that pans out. It's really good for Ferrari, really good for them to be able to extend this out. Now, what you have to notice, what is the trend between these two things? Right. What is the trend between these two things? Let me know in chat. The trend between these two things is that they're luxury items. This is a movie ticket, right? And this is a big sign to the world that you were insane. That you have a Ferrari. No. So maybe some people interpret it that way. But these are luxury items, guys. So what you still cannot buy with crypto is bananas at a grocery store, right? There are some kind of squirrely ways that you can get certain credit cards from like crypto.com type of things, and you can technically pay in crypto in one way or another, right? But for the most part, you can't walk in and tap your phone using MetaMask or using some crypto wallet and pay for your groceries or your gasoline in crypto yet. And that is the big one, guys. That is the big one, in my opinion, for adoption. And, people go back and forth on whether or not Bitcoin will be the currency that you pay for stuff in, right? But the point is that you pay for things in crypto, not the US dollar, right? You're paying for things in a deflationary currency, not an inflationary currency like fiat. Josh Denham said, Lizzie goes too far. The article says he is pro-crypto. Lizzie, I think you're referring back to Gavin Newsom. It's kind of controversial whether or not he's pro-crypto. It depends who you ask. King D said maybe they want to make their ETH wallet and collect fees. That could be kind of speculating there on why Apple may have taken MetaMask off its Apple Store. Could be because they want to release their own. Oh man, I don't want to say this because I think it's not true, but I think I remember Apple saying that they were going to have crypto compatibility by some date. But I don't even know if that's real. I can't remember if that's a real memory or if I'm making that up. All right, guys. Well, yes, you can buy more things. And there's also a ton of restaurants you can buy crypto with. Tim and I made a video probably about a year ago now where we went to Chipotle and paid in Bitcoin for burritos. So you can do that. You've been able to do that for a while. But again, it's kind of a luxury item, guys. Now, you might not think of Chipotle as a luxury item, but it is. You're paying a higher margin for ingredients that you could get at Publix or at the grocery store, like Whole Foods or Costco, for way cheaper, right? You're paying, $8 for a burrito that you could make at home, like 10 burritos for $20, right, worth of ingredients. Just kind of pulling those numbers out of my butt, but you kind of see what I'm saying. It's still considered a luxury item just because of how high the margin is and because you're not having to make it. You're paying for the convenience. Just walking in there, just scrolling through Twitter. You're not having to pay attention to anything. You look up for a half a second and you say, I want a chicken burrito. And then you go right back to scrolling. And then you walk out, you eat it. You've done nothing. All you've done is just said one word. And all of a sudden you have a magically delicious burrito in your belly. All right, guys. Well, there's been a competition over in the U.S. U.S. Congress to try to figure out who the heck is going to lead this thing. He's a Republican, but I think this is a Representative Jim Jordan nominated for House Speaker, but falls short of total votes needed. Republican. So this is big. Why is this big? I doubt that CNBC is going to cover the part that I care about. But this headline is big because the next runner-ups are very pro-crypto. That would be Tom Emmer and Patrick McHenry. If those guys could get Speaker of the House, it's not president, right? But what they could do is they could whip up a caucus that could go ahead and oust Gary Gensler. Say, hey, we have enough votes in Congress, and we're the ones that employ Gary Gensler. We get enough votes to fire you. You are now done, Gary. Leave. You suck. And they've said this to him in Congress when he's come. And had, committee meetings. They've said, you suck. You're terrible. The only reason why you're not leaving is because we don't have the votes to fire you, I guess. Or, you haven't yet crossed the line completely. This headline here is significant because Jim Jordan, I don't know. He doesn't have like a strong opinion on Bitcoin or Gary Gensler and how much he sucks, right? But Jim Jordan, I actually don't think he's that bad of a politician, but he's not like the pro-Bitcoin politician that we would want, right? Also, Steve Scalise, it looks like he was kind of fading this week. See if this article gives any kind of indication of who might be the next runner-up. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Talking about Matt Gaetz. I don't think he's going to trying to get nominated for that. All right. Yeah. So we'll have to see. It looks like probably they're more than likely just kind of trying to reestablish the fallout, trying to assess the fallout of Jim Jordan not getting the votes yet before they go ahead and try to nominate somebody else. But goodness gracious, it's like if Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan can't get the votes, how are Tom Emmer. How is anybody going to get the votes? But what the heck is happening to our government, guys? What is going on? This is insane. Vote for a freaking leader. Eric Wallen said Cash App has the best Bitcoin to debit card ramp instantly. That's pretty cool. That sounds very, very crypto friendly. Like you can go buy groceries and can you buy gasoline with it? Cash App has the best Bitcoin to debit card ramp instantly. Wow. Is there a fee? That's pretty good. That's pretty cool. I have to look into that. Dave Digital said, that's a hard no on burritos. You pull out of your... Okay. Thank you, Dave Digital. All right, we've got one more story, and this one's pretty interesting, guys. Microsoft, $69 billion Activision Blizzard takeover approved by the UK, clearing way for deal to close. So, guys, this was already approved in the United States, and now it is approved in the UK. So that's kind of it, right? Unless there's some kind of appeal, maybe. I don't think that there's an appeal here. I think that this is now done. Microsoft won. This would have been an antitrust case. I don't think it was a court case. I think it was just the trade regulators were kind of sifting through, seeing who would bribe them the most, probably. But just kind of seeing, this is too big of a deal. They're thinking they're going to have a monopoly in gaming. And hey, if you're a gamer, you probably think that they are. You probably think that Microsoft now is a monopoly. I own a lot of Microsoft stock, so I'm kind of biased, right? I wanted this deal to go through because it's going to be very big for me. All right. Guys, we got about 8 minutes here. It's a 2023 annular eclipse. Where and when? But where and when is this eclipse going to be happening? Annular eclipse. It's a solar eclipse, and it will cross North, Central, and South America. It will be visible in parts of the United States, Mexico, and many countries in South and Central America. You're only going to be able to see it here. The major cities are Kerrville, major city, and Albuquerque. That is a pretty big city. So take a look here. You'll be able to see that where the sun kind of goes down. Man, didn't really show it. This is, oh, there you go. There you go. This is NASA's website, science.nasa.gov. Now, if you want to learn more about this and how it affects your Bitcoin hold, oh, look at that. That's cool. It's kind of like a wave. You want to go over to Bill Noble. Check out Bill Noble's channel. He talks all about, he has all these theories about solar eclipses, just like astrological movements in general, astronomical movements, and how that they actually affect prices. I don't get into that stuff. I think it's interesting to listen to, but I have too much going on in my brain to try to add those axes of analysis. I like to try to keep it simple. But hey, you might be really interested in that, and this is actually happening. I think this might actually have, yeah, it's happening today. So if you are on the West Coast, you might be able to check this out. It looks like Eugene, Oregon also it's going to go through. I don't know why that one's not highlighted, but yeah. So anyway, probably most people aren't going to be able to see this because it kind of goes through the desert. But if you're in Eugene, Oregon, you can probably see it. All right. That is going to conclude. What is this? What is this one? The Kabisky letter? Okay, that's nothing. So ultimately, guys, we could be seeing. Whoa. We could be seeing quite a bit of bullishness here going into the end of the year. Today, there's a lot of bearish news. Mainly that Apple has taken MetaMask out of the App Store. That is not good, right? But the question does remain, why? Is it because there was some speculation in the chat? Could it just be because Apple wants to release its own app? Now, that wouldn't be good news because Apple would probably be facing some antitrust charges. And that is going to be I guarantee you guys, that is going to be a whole thing. It's not happening right now, but if Apple and Amazon and even Google through Android, if they started making it to where they were the ones collecting all the crypto fees from transactions instead of the existing exchanges, that would be the biggest antitrust issue ever. It'd be like if Apple and Amazon and Apple and Android, aka Google, came out and were like, "Oh, all the banks we're no longer accepting the Bank of America app or the Goldman Sachs app or the Wells Fargo app. we are now the banks. And because everybody's using their mobile devices for banking, kind of like, you could envision a world where that might happen. Well, with crypto, it's much more likely because there aren't any norms established, or there are definitely norms, but they're not to the extent of like, Bank of America and Wells Fargo, meaning you need a bank, you go to one of those guys, right? You want to buy crypto, you go to MetaMask, right? But you can also go to a ton of other banks, a ton of other apps. Anyway, you see what I'm saying. There could be a very dystopic future if Google and Apple were the ones processing all the transactions. I don't think that that's going to be the case. But that is this headline, the MetaMask headline, could be kind of queuing up something like that into the future. King D said, "What Colombian have you been hanging out with, T-Shroom, in the United States?" Yes. I don't know. I just like saying it like that. Dave Digital said, "Current bank allows you to buy and sell like 30 crypto assets instantly. You just can't withdraw the crypto assets, only convert them back to cash. I use it for farming cash. Very convenient." Farming cash. What does that mean, Dave Digital? What does that mean, farming cash? Do you just mean like interest-based savings accounts? Yeah. That's what Big Army Piper does with Robinhood. Gets that 4.9 APY just by holding cash in Robinhood. Not bad, but you got to pay the $5 a month, so that might eat into your profits if you don't have more than like 100 grand. So, all right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this show. It's been a real pleasure to have the T-Shroom takeover and have you guys tuning in and listening to my musings on the markets here. Josh Denham said, "Hit the likes before you leave." Hit those likes before you leave, guys. Absolutely. Josh Denham helping me out, helping me remember what it's all about. Because when you bring it back to the basics, guys, it's really just about hitting the likes. Am I right? Really just about hitting the likes. And that's what we're all about, guys. Well, next week, we're going to be having a big week. We'll probably get a decision on the Speaker of the House, and that could be Tom Emmer. It could be Patrick McHenry, which are very outspoken proponents of Bitcoin. That could be extremely bullish news. We also have, going into the end of this year, the potential for a spot Bitcoin ETF, which, as we talked about on the channel, could be very bullish, could be very bearish, could be nothing. But there is a chance that it could be very bullish, right? And if you have a conviction in Bitcoin, you kind of don't really care either way, because you're just going to keep holding and you're just going to keep buying lower. Because there's only so much these banks can really do to us at the end of the day. Yeah. We'll see what happens with this MetaMask story. It's going to be more than likely unfolding. There may even have been some developments this weekend already of MetaMask coming out and saying some things. But as far as I know, this is the latest news that MetaMask has been removed from the Apple Store. Hasn't been a response to that yet. Dustin Singer said, "T-Shroom, you on another level. Great show, bro." Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. We saw metals kind of making a move higher here, which could be signaling some potential downside movement for equities, not necessarily crypto. See, that's kind of the thing. Is it's like could see a move down for equities. We saw that the S&P looks like it could make a move down, has a little bit more potential of a move to the downside. Metal markets seem to indicate that as they're getting bought up, even right now as we speak, still up. Silver still up 4.2%, and gold up 3.4%. Definitely seems to indicate that money is kind of rotating into strength, into out of the risk. Why do I keep going back to that? Out of the risk and into a little bit more of a safe haven, which is gold. May be continuing to see that rotation into crypto as well. I mean, we saw. We'll go back to it actually. A ton of names that are higher today. Trust Wallet. That's why Trust Wallet's up, because MetaMask got taken off. Duh. Why didn't I think of that? Because MetaMask got taken off. Trust Wallet is booming. It's the main competitor to MetaMask, right? Also Loom up higher. I'm not sure about that one. Internet Computer doing pretty nice. Up 4.8%. Right? And there's only like 5 losers today. And ApeCoin isn't one of them. Where's ApeCoin? Oh, Tim's not here for it. But ApeCoin is not. Ape NFT's down. I don't know if that's related. Where's ApeCoin? There it is. So ApeCoin's actually up today on the 24-hour. That's nice. Good for ApeCoin. Toncoin actually leading lower. Let's take a look really quick at its crude chart here on CoinMarketCap as we conclude the show. I always do this. I'm so bad at wrapping up because I'm just so curious. My curiosity is unending when it comes to crypto. Whoa, what the heck is going on with this chart? Yeah, Toncoin getting a nice little correction to the downside. I wanted to pick up a little Toncoin, but the narrative is just too loose for me. It's like people are bullish on Toncoin because of Telegram, because it's related to Telegram. It could be kind of the Dogecoin for Telegram. I don't know. I just don't know if Telegram's going to get anywhere near as big as X, though. I don't know. Maybe it will. It certainly is in the crypto space. Crypto, there's a lot of people on Telegram, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, guys. I'm going to leave it there. It's been a huge pleasure being able to bring you guys the crypto news today. I'm T Shroom in for the Investing Bros. Tim will be back on Monday, and we're going to go hard. Why am I flickering? I don't know. Flickering here. All right. Have a great weekend, guys.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the growth of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.